We only have a couple scrolls. I may as well not do them on a video because I'm not gonna get anything. Right? Right? I never learn. I never learn. What's up, everybody? I never learn. We're gonna convert that. We're gonna. There's a few units that I just need. I feel like I need anyway. Oh, I was gonna say. Hold on now. Okay, let's do it. Let's convert. Time to convert NAT 5. I could sanctify him, but it's much more fun to convert. Please RNGesus Shaman. Please RNGesus Shaman, or something else we need. Ooh, that's new. That's new! Selena is new. Okay, that shows up in the archives, right? Yeah, that shows up in the archives. Very nice. Skill cat. Very nice. Okay, new unit. I mean, we forced the new unit, but let's see how close we are. We need one more. We need Elven Queen. We need Elven Queen, and we need Medusa Draconian. Man, we need some good units. What's up, everybody? It's time for another Calibria Crystal Gardens video. Today, we're taking a look at all of the light 3 stars in the entire game, and we're going to talk about where they can be. Oh, sorry. There's only 4 light 3 stars. We're going to talk about where the 4 light 3 stars, Mermaid, Boxer, Amazon, and Cupid, where they can potentially be good for. We're going to do a little budget mini review on these units. First on the list is the Mermaid. Let's take a look at the Mermaid. She is support, well, she's assist unit. 105 base speed. The rest of the stats are just the stats at low level, so it doesn't really matter what the rest of the stats are. She'll support you. Assist. Remember what game you're playing. Assist unit. Shark Rush, first skill. Double hit, 200% of attack and damage, but it's not going to do a lot of damage because she's support. Say it again. She's not going to do a lot of damage because she's an assist unit. 50% chance to sleep target for 1 turn. 50% chance to sleep, and then it goes up to 70% chance. That's not bad in some PvP areas. You know what I mean? Like if you want to get CC done for PvE, like for example, like the Spire or Dreamland, then you want more. You want more than just skill 1. It also, I don't want to make comparisons, but in another game, you sleep skill 1 and you increase your attack gauge on some units. She just does the sleep on skill 1, but it's still a decent percent chance to sleep. Ocean's Ballad, chant ancestral sea songs to restore 25% of an ally's HP, reduce all their skill cooldowns by 1 turn. Okay, reusable in 3 turns. It's not amazing, it's not terrible either. Tsunami, summon a tsunami which attacks all enemies, 205% of attack and damage to each enemy, and it affects them with HP, regen, lock, and recovers 20% of own HP. I really don't want to make comparisons to Summoner's War, so I will not make comparisons to Summoner's War, but I don't get super excited about this skill. It's an AoE, it's not going to really do, you're not using it for arena offense, you're not really using it for, like, you know, nothing really going on with that skill. Neptune's Blessing, pray to the ocean to increase all allies' defense and resistance crit rate. Crit resist. Defense and crit rate for 2 turns. Erase 1 of all allies' negative status effects. Its cooldown is in 4 turns, so you want to use this with something like the Harpy, right? So this is actually not that bad because it makes the like for dungeons, for example, cleanse a negative status effect. Could be good in both Leviathan and Colossus. Not for speed teams, of course, but for like early game, like beginner teams. Especially if you got like, here's the thing, like you kind of want to skill some of these up as well. So if you don't have the skill cooldowns on this, do you like, if you happen to summon a lot of mermaids, then maybe consider it. If you don't happen to summon a lot of mermaids, do you really want to skill cat a mermaid? Because that's what you're going to have to do if you can't get more mermaids, you know what I mean? So keep that in mind. It's not like you can just feed other 3 stars to it. So that's one of the things that may make some of these LD 3 stars not as usable as the regular elements, right? Not as usable in other games, where in other games you can just feed other 3 stars of different elements, like more common elements. This one, you cannot do that. So you have to either get more mermaids by summoning more LDs, or you have to skill cat them, which is ridiculous to skill cat a 3 star. Passive Purifying, because there's no like I know actually some people are here from Raid Shadow Legends as well, because there's a few Raid Shadow Legends streamers and YouTubers that were like playing Calibria. So some of you are here from this. So you're familiar with like using books, like, oh well, they're just different rarities of books, and you're familiar with doing that. But in this game, there's no like different rarities of books or anything. There's just one. There's skill cats, and you want to kind of just save those for the higher level, the 5-star units, or even some in some cases the 4-star units if they're super good 4-star units. Especially like the LD4s, right? Yeah, LD4s you don't feel too bad using skill cats on them, but like the regular 4s, you're like, let me just try to skill them up with other 4-stars. So. Passive Purifying Bubble. People of the sea are surrounded by purifying bubbles. After each turn, randomly absorb 1 negative status effect from an ally. The way this reads is 1 negative status effect from 1 ally, and then grants them immunity for 1 turn. That does not excite me at all. I'm sorry, but that does not excite me at all. If this was an AoE, maybe it is an AoE, it is just worded incorrectly. But if this is an AoE, then very exciting for dungeons, right? Very exciting for dungeons, especially Leviathan. But if this is not, and it's just a single target, then I'm not very excited about it. So I'm going to have to play around with it and find out. But it looks like this is not a bad skill if you have enough mermaids to skill it up. If you don't have enough mermaids and you can't get this skilled up, then there's just better. There's just better. just the druid. Anyway, then we have this one, Passive Sea Sacrifice. There's a chance to... I don't know why I'm reading that part. People of the sea sacrifice themselves to their goddess. Upon dying, 70% chance to revive a random ally with full HP. So, this goes up to 100% chance. When she dies, she revives a random ally with full HP. This could be a good arena defense gimmick. Maybe. Maybe. Like if you get blasted with a flame spirit, something else dies, then she dies, and it brings the other one back, and then something else happens, maybe like a Cleopatra kind of thing, right? Revive all dead allies. You know what I mean? So she could be a combo with Cleopatra, maybe for arena defense. Possibly. But Cleopatra would have to die first. Well, anyway. And it's random. You know what? It's random. So, probably not. Probably not. Honestly, probably not. Maybe for dungeons, these two, if you have enough mermaids to skill up. If you don't have enough mermaids to skill up, probably not something you're going to be focusing on too much. Next up is Amazon. Let's take a look at Amazon's skills. First skill, Harpoon Thrust. Attacks with an Amazonian Spear to deal 380% of attack and damage. 50% chance to affect target with HP regen lock for 2 turns. Wow, the worst of the debuffs. The worst of the debuffs. Not very excited about that first skill. Second skill, Harpoon Combo. Attacks enemy 2 times, Amazonian Spear. Each attack deals 275% of attack and damage. Each negative status effect the target has increased skill damage by 15%. This could be nice for maybe dungeons, especially for bosses if they have a whole bunch of negative status effects. Extra damage, extra damage, extra damage, right? So we get extra damage from the skill ups, reduce cooldown to 3 turns. Let's say the target has, for example, like a maximum of 10 debuffs, right? That's increased damage by 150%. Actually, now that I say that out loud, that's not that crazy amount of it's not a super amazing amount of damage. Maybe if it was like 30% each one, then that'd be a big thing, right? Also depends on the multiplier is not super crazy to begin with, 275%. I wonder what her base stats are when she's completely maxed, though. I mean, it's interesting for against bosses, but I guess we'll see, right? Die from an incredible altitude to pierce the enemy with a spear. Deal 270% of attack to all enemies. Reduce target's attack for 2 turns. Again, like a lot of these things are, can you even skill up these LD3s? Because if you can't skill up these LD3s, like, I really wouldn't worry too much about them. I'm ruining my entire video. I wouldn't worry too much. Oh, Bagel. Okay, so I don't need to watch the rest of this video. Cool, very cool. It's easier to get LD summons in this game, and there's less LD3s to get, so you may be able to skill them up eventually, but, yeah, this is an AoE, reduce attack power. I don't get super excited about it. I mean, for Colossus, AoE reduce attack power is nice against, like, the first wave and stuff like that, but this could be an okay unit for Colossus, right? I feel. But it's not something I'm going to use in arena offense so far. Rift Spike, stab own spear to the ground and activate an array of spears under the enemy to attack them 2 times. First attack deals 255% of attack and damage and has an 80% chance to reduce target's defense for 2 turns. Second attack, 510% of attack and damage. So, gets increased up to 100% chance. I mean, unless it gets resisted, right? And then there's extra damage plus 10% and damage plus 20% when it's maxed. That's a lot of damage. It's the big single target burst damage, defense break, and then nuke on top of that. So this could be an interesting unit for maybe, I don't know if I would use her for arena offense, but maybe for like Guild Wars. Would I use this for Guild Wars? Not really. I would maybe use this one for Guild Wars, but not the other one. Passive Battle Master, Valiant Warriors, prepare for battle, increase attack by 30%, 100% chance to evade every 3rd attack. Increase attack. So she's actually increasing her attack by 50%. That's a pretty big buff after it's upgraded. Increase attack by 50%. You know what she I don't want to compare it to Summoner's War, man. I don't want to compare it to Summoner's War. But then you don't get this big defense break and nuke damage though. But she passively increases her attack, and then she does extra damage based on the enemy's negative status effects. So I feel like that might be. I feel like that might not be that bad for like dungeons. Feared by the Goddess of War for like maybe for dungeon like speedruns. Right, but a lot of people have more OP Nat 5s that they may be prioritizing. They're like, I can't skill up this Amazon. I have skill cats. I'm going to feed them to my Nat 5s, not the Amazon, right? Which makes sense. Passive Valkyrie's power. Amazon is favored by the Goddess of War. Attacks have 70% chance to receive her blessing. Increase crit rate to 100% against enemies with less than 50% HP. Okay. Increase damage by 30% against enemies with more than 50% HP. And it goes up to 100% chance to receive her blessing. So increase damage against enemies with more than 50% HP. Honestly, I just feel like this. Like, why not just use the Battle Master instead of the Valkyrie's power, right? We don't, because this is increased damage by 30%, but this is just always increase attack by even more than that. So Battle Master just seems like the best one, and then I feel like this might actually not be bad for like. You may need really good gear to get it skilled up. I mean, let me back up a little bit. That makes no sense. You may need really good gear to make this really effective for nuking down dungeon bosses, but I know a lot of people already have Nat 5s that are just possibly just as good, maybe better for nuking down dungeon bosses. If you don't, this is an option if you have a bunch of Amazons to be able to actually skill this up to pretty heavily upgraded or maxed. Guys, guess what? We're halfway through the list. We're halfway through the list. All right, so next one is Boxer Mui. Boxer Mui. Where to explain Boxer Mui? Oh, I don't want to compare. I don't want to compare Kung Fu Girl. I don't want to compare. I don't want to compare to other games. Okay, so she's got a lot of RNG in her kit. She does a couple debuffs to the enemy. She's got a chance of doing 3 different things with her skill 3. She has a heal. She's got an energy boost. And it's single target damage. She's got a heal for her team. She's got an energy boost for her team. And she's got cleanse for her team as well. From that, she's also got a defense break. But everything has like these extra little chance to do this, a little chance to do that, a little chance to activate this, a little chance to activate that. I think she may potentially be not that bad in the lair. I haven't really tackled too much stuff. Just be honest. I haven't tackled too much stuff in the lair just yet. So I think that this might be the place that she may be more useful. However, it's still the same thing as I mentioned for the first and the second units that we looked at. Can you skill these things up, right? Can you skill these things up? Because if you can't, then they're definitely... Like, it's much harder to use LD3s in this game than it is in other games. And it's much harder to use LD3s than it is to use regular 3s. Because the regular 3s you can just skill up from... You're getting tons of different 3-stars like Windwalker. It's so easy to skill up Windwalker, it's ridiculous. But this Boxer, it might take you a while to skill her up, right? Unless you got a whole bunch of LDs. But like, consider some of these if you happen to have, a handful of skill ups for one of these LDs. Like, consider maybe building that, but other than that, I maybe just hold off on it until later. So anyway, this is Butterfly Knife attack, 250% of attack and damage, reduce the target's attack for 1 turn. 20% chance to gain a bonus attack turn, attack with skill 2, 10% chance to get skill 3, effect may trigger during bonus turn. Okay, so already RNG. Soar upon broad wings, 300% of attack and damage, reduced defense for 1 turn, 15% chance to gain a bonus attack turn and attack with skill 1, 15% chance to attack with skill 3, effect may trigger during bonus turn as well. So this is like the RNG queen. I mean, if you want to maximize the insanity, you can put Berserk on her, and she'll have more chances here and there to activate and activate and activate. And we could potentially see something completely insane. Like, she's just gonna go absolutely bonkers sometimes, but a lot of times she's just gonna like not do anything. She's just gonna like defense break. But a single target defense break is not bad. Usable in 2 turns though as well for the skill 2. Skill 2 I like anything that's reasonable in 2 turns for a skill 2 is pretty nice, just in general. Because sometimes skill 2s are reasonable in like 4 turns. It's like, oh man. Gotta kind of bring a harpy with that. Every time I see something, I'm like, bring a harpy, okay. Arc Kick, this is quickly attack an enemy, 300% of attack and damage. Affect target with HP regen lock for 1 turn. I don't care about that. 15% chance to gain an attack turn and attack with skill 1. And then we get the extra bonus attacks, bonus attacks, bonus attacks. I like this, the flap better than the Arc Kick. Lols. Fire Tornado. So this is another one, single target, but it also does something for the team, right? So attacks 2 times powerfully, 200% of attack and damage per hit. At the end of the turn, restore 10% of all allies' HP. But I mean, if you need to restore HP, wouldn't you just bring a healer? 10% chance to gain a bonus attack, blah, blah, extra attacks. Skills may trigger during bonus turns, extra attacks, right? Spinning Hook. This jumps in front of an enemy, deals powerful hook, 480% of attack and damage. Just 1 hit though, just 1 hit. And then this is restore 20% to all allies' energy, 10% chance to gain a bonus attack turn. You know the deal, right? So heal, energy increase, like attack gauge. And then this one is erase 1 ally negative status effect. One of all allies' negative status effects. So it's another smash down on an enemy and cleanse. So maybe okay in like Leviathan or something like that. Like if you want to bring like DPS Leviathan. But again, this is just... And I think maybe in the lair. Because again, I haven't been testing too much of the stuff in the lair out. But I don't know. Like... Not for... See, that's the thing. It's like, it's not for early game. Because you need to skill this up, right? You need to skill these things up, and you need better runes to be able to do this. So, like, is it for end game? But if you're end game, or you're like more not end game, because you can't be end game. The game just came out like a month ago, right? You came, I'm end game, of course, if you say so. But the thing is with this, like, if you're gonna be doing speed runs. For example, that's what I was referring to by end game. If you're going to be doing speed runs, you're just going to be bringing other stuff, though. You're just going to be bringing things that are reliable instead of, like, RNG. So you're really not going to need... I feel like maybe this is just going to be a thing that you maybe use for the lair. So this may be something that, like, we don't really use right now. Maybe RNG. Maybe for Hydra Dungeon as well. So... But again, it's got that same issue of, like, you need to actually skill these things up, and that's a challenge for LD3s that you can't feed regular NAT3s to. And last but not least, finally the last light 3-star. Oh my god, the video took 3.5 hours to make. There's so many monsters to go through. Cupid, so he's a support assist unit. Basically, what he does is he has marks. He has hatred marks, and he has love marks. The love marks make your team take less damage. And then the hatred marks make the enemy team take more damage. So, I mean, you could relate this to whatever game that you play that is similar to having things. You could relate it to like a defense buff and a defense break, or like brands, or like other things that increase the amount of damage that the enemy takes. You're familiar with things like that, units like that, right? So I think it could be like an okay dungeon support unit. Again, like none of these units you want to build... Thinking like, yeah, none of these units are really arena offense units really Guild War units. Like some of them are like maybe in dungeons, possibly in dungeons units, maybe in the lair. I'll get back to you on the lair stuff because I really, again, you know, I should have already like learned to master the lair. So that's my apologies on that I haven't done this yet. But that is this is just adding more things to do more damage. You know, he's like a super duper budget shaman. A super duper budget shaman, right? Because the shaman curse. So he's like a super duper budget shaman. Now you guys are excited. He said, budget shaman? I have him. I'm going to skill cat him completely. So we have 400% of attack and damage, but he's an assist unit. He's not a DPS unit, so he's not going to do a whole... I mean, it's a good multiplier, but not a crazy amount of... not a crazy amount. It's a 100% chance to actually activate the hatred mark, though, unless it gets resisted, which is nice. So you're going to do more damage to whatever unit it's on. And then we have the Sweet Love, restore 30% of an ally's HP and bestow a Love Mark upon them for 2 turns. Love Mark reduces damage taken by 25%. So you can use this as more supporting to help your teammate, one of your teammates. And then this one, 2 Heartbroken Arrows at an enemy. Each arrow deals 255% of attack and damage. Dispel 1 buff from target, add a Hatred Mark to them for 1 turn. Again, this could be okay for dungeons. Hatred Mark increases damage by 25%, so it increases up to 50% chance to dispel and add a hatred mark. And then cooldown is 3 turns, right? So 50% chance. It's double attacks though. Could be maybe okay for dungeons, I feel. Could be okay. I feel like this might actually be okay for dungeons. And then this one, we have 3 options for skill 3. Sweet Seal, use a mark of love to average all allies percent HP, and then restore 20% to all allies HP. Again, do you have enough Cupids? I think I actually might have enough Cupids to actually warrant building a Cupid, so we might actually even try using Cupid. If you guys want, we can try this. So this is reusable in 5 turns. Average all allies HP and restore 20% to allies HP. So if you have some tanky units and some squishy units, averages them all out. So like the same percentage, and then restores them. So I don't know why you guys needed the visual representation, but that's not a bad support skill. It's usually in 5 turns. So just use a harpy with him. And then this one. So I feel like maybe you have enough marks between the first one with the high activation rate, that's 100% activation, and then the double hit with the hatred mark. Like if you're gonna do the hatred mark for the enemy strip and then hatred mark, right? So I feel like you could even, like if you got a handful of Cupids, you probably could use this in a Catacombs team, or you could probably use this in a, I would say maybe more Catacombs than Leviathan, I think. Power of Love to attack all enemies, mark with a hatred mark, and then all allies with a love mark. Okay, but I don't think you really need this if you're good, unless you really want the love mark on it, right? But this is AoE hatred mark. Or, here's the thing though. You could do this with, I don't want to compare it to the games. I don't want to compare, but this is almost like an AoE brand. In other games that shall remain nameless, like you could use this with the Flame Spirit to increase the damage, right? Because you can't like defense break with the Flame Spirit because it ignores defense already. But you can use this hatred mark to increase the damage taken, to buff up the little fluff damage for Flame Spirit, and then come in and smack things around, right? And I would run, if I was going to do that, I would probably run it with low crit, because I wouldn't want to activate that Draconic Princess. That's just that's my take on it, right? I want to try to get as low crit rate on that as possible. I'd support unit anyway. You don't really put high crit rate on support units, but it's potentially interesting to have this AoE hatred mark and then come in with the Flame Spirit and just nuke on top of that, because the Flame Spirit's going to do more damage. Food for thought. That's just food for thought. Excuse me. And then passive Love's Verdict. At the start of turn, 70% chance to mark an enemy with hatred mark. Ally with love mark. This is just doing it passively instead of doing it as a skill, right? So this is a skill. It's got a cooldown. This is a skill. It's got a cooldown. And then this one is just doing it passively. So I feel like I'm less concerned with the Sweet Love, and I'm more concerned with getting these hatred marks, because these hatred marks are pretty cool to put on enemies. I feel like this could be a thing on Arena Offense, and this could be a thing for possibly dungeons. possibly. Although, you know, this probably would be, I feel like maybe just this in dungeons as well. Because the AoE. Because if you think about it, like, doing the dungeons, like, Hatred Mark and then Flame Spirit AoE nuke for the waves, it's kind of like a budget shaman. You know what, the more that I say this, the more I actually want to build this Cupid. Weirdly enough. Because I know people were talking about, like, this is a nice heal, but I'm more excited about these marks. Because I don't have a flippin' shaman! Anyway, that's it for this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I probably talked way too long about this, especially since a lot of these are so hard to skill up. Sound like a broken record now. A lot of these are so hard to skill up that you may not really even have the opportunity to 6-star them and actually build them and use them. But I do think, like, some of them may be okay if you are... I think the Cupid is maybe the most exciting. Because I feel like there's a lot of combos as a budget shaman with this. But yeah, if you have the opportunity, you may want to consider doing one of these for one thing or another. If you have the opportunity. Because it could lead to some interesting things. Especially like if something has arena defense viability. These don't have arena defense viability, do they? No, they don't. No, I don't think they do. I don't think they do. Anyway, that's it for this. What is his leader skill? Resistance? Did we even cover the other leader skills? Resistance. She's got HP. That's not bad. They all have... Ooh, that's interesting. What is her base speed? Did I notice that? I mean, speed is always good. Speed is always the best leader skill to have. Crit rate. Crit rate. But yeah, I might actually build the Cupid. Because I think I have a few skill ups for the Cupid already. So I may consider building him. Trying to use him as a budget shaman. And we'll see how it goes. I don't know. I can't make any promises. But we'll see if we can try making something work with the Cupid. Alright guys. Anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you as always in the next one.